Welcome back, 70 Monte Carlo. Removing the door latches right now. It's one of those little things that you see on a lot of cars that just get painted over and it doesn't look right. Little things like that make a big difference in how the final product turns out. Bottom two screws are seized in there pretty good, so I'm going to put a little heat to them and see if I can't get them cracked loose. Nothing to it. Those wouldn't budge before. Their latches are out. I can give them a light blasting, clean them up, lubricate all the spots that need it before they go back in later once everything's painted. There's a little bit of a low spot left here that I want to try and work out. I heat shrunk it once, it came out a bit. It didn't want to come out anymore. We'll find the lowest point of it. Hold on, stud. Pull up on it and gently work around it with a hammer. Yeah, that came up a bit. We'll go over to the next low spot. It's coming. It's got a bit of an oil can to it. There we go. It's wanting to stay out now. There, that's got the majority of that worked out. Oh, but there we go. Hammer and dolly that a little bit. That should stay out. You can't just twist the studs off, but if they're welded on good enough, it'll actually leave a little hole where they were. Pull the metal out. So I like to just clip them. And then just take the nubs off with a 3-inch sander. Yeah, that helped quite a bit. Can take a bit of filler, but not too bad. Time for some filler. Using metal to metal on here. I like this for the first coat on bare steel. Get it worked into the welds good. Okay, it's been about 4 hours. This stuff is just nicely hard enough to start sanding now. I'm going to give it a quick blocking, knock down any high spots, and then I can go back with another thin coat and fill up the rest of the low spots. Second skim coat is on. I'll let that sit overnight, harden up really well. Stuff takes a long time to cure. That first batch I used a little more hardener than what it calls for, and it took 4 hours before it was sandable. This stuff I put a little bit more hardener in, but I'm going to give it overnight to cure so it's hardened up really well before I start sanding. That stuff tonight was starting to plug the paper up a little bit. It was still just a touch soft. Overall, I'm really happy with how little it took to straighten those fenders back out compared to what they were before. All the time heat shrinking, hammer and dolly work really paid off. This stuff's cured overnight. Give it a quick blocking. That edge came out nice enough in the metal that I can take the filler right off of it. I don't have to worry about getting any chips in it then later. The fenders and doors have had a couple of thin coats of metal to metal filler where I pounded out dents and replaced parts of the sheet metal. blocked out with 80 grit, and then it went over everything again with 120. Ran out of stands, so I had to use a chair. That's the area of the driver's door where I cut that big piece out of at the top. Went over the whole car again with 120 as well. The jams are blasted. All the back end trunk gutters and everything's all blasted now. Just all the spots that are too hard to sand out by hand and don't have to worry about warping there. Then got all the blasting grit vacuumed out. I'm sure there'll be more shake out of various corners as I go. Always is. So next step, onto epoxy for the doors and fenders.